Hey guys, it's Chris and welcome back to another Writing Wednesday. And today I want to talk about, some honest, maybe a bit harsh, just a little bit harsh advice, but honest advice for new writers, or maybe, existing writers who are, maybe feeling stuck. Maybe they've started a book but don't really know where they're going. But you got to have a little bit of, tough love. So anyway, let's jump into it. My top 10 harsh but honest writing tips. So here we go. Tip number 1, write what you're passionate about. If you write something that you're passionate about, it's going to keep you more motivated. You know how it is when you're having a conversation with somebody and a topic comes up that you're really passionate about or you know a lot about, you feel really confident in that topic. You can talk about it on and on and on all night long. And maybe some people actually get sick of hearing about it. So write something that you are really interested in writing about, and definitely don't trend chase. Now, trend chasing is where, maybe you're reading a lot of novels lately, and maybe the hot topic right now is like contemporary urban romance where vampires actually rule the world. Don't do that just to try to, blend in and, gain some immediate success or whatever, because those trends are going to end in 2 or 3 months. And then something else is going to be the new trend. So stick to something you're passionate about, stay true to yourself, and whatever you write will come across a hell of a lot better than if you try to trend chase and write stuff just because you think it might be popular. And for example, my book, The Crimson Gods, is basically a medieval fantasy, hopefully with a little bit of a twist in there. But the point being that I know that I'm not personally interested in writing right now, at least, a contemporary romance novel. But as I was writing The Crimson Gods, of course, I had side stories and subplots and, a little bit of romance involved in there as well. And I actually came to enjoy writing about the romance stuff as well. So maybe in the future I can switch to something more contemporary or romance or whatever. The point being that I'm staying in my lane and discovering things along the way. And number 2, experiment. Don't be afraid to try new things. Maybe try different writing techniques. Write from the first person point of view. Write from the third person omniscient POV. Try different techniques and writing styles to see what you enjoy more. For example, you may think you want to write a classic medieval fantasy story, but you find out, through this process of, experimenting, that you really enjoy contemporary sci-fi or some kind of romance. Now for me, I kind of got lucky, as far as that. I knew I wanted to write in the fantasy genre, but for me in The Crimson Gods, I had one single scene just kind of come to me, and then I wrote that scene out and then kind of built the story around that scene, answering the questions that came up in that scene. So why was this person in this place? Why did this happen? What was he here for? So all those questions kind of built the story around that one scene that came to me for The Crimson Gods. Number 3, look into publishing, but don't obsess over it. First, you have to have a damn book to publish. So you have to obviously have a finished product before you can sell it, but you can begin marketing a little bit later. We'll talk about that in a whole different video. But at the same time, the act of actually looking into publishing options such as self-publishing or traditional or somewhere in between, just that in and of itself, and kind of, those thoughts you have when you're falling asleep about your book, which you do all the time, but you kind of picture it as a real thing. It's a real novel. It's a real paperback in your hands. Those things can make it a little bit more realistic and kind of give you motivation to keep going. For example, for me, I didn't really start looking at that till I was at least over halfway through with the novel, The Crimson Gods, but now that I have some artwork, now that I have my author website up and all that good stuff, and I've done some mock-ups of the book itself, and a potential cover design as well, it seems a hell of a lot more real because now I have a plan on how to publish it, who I'm going to use, all that good stuff, etc. And now it's a lot more real. So for me, it's like it's already a done deal. I just have to cross the finish line. And number 4, get real feedback. And I'm not talking about feedback from, friends and family who are going to be nice to you. Get real, honest feedback. The bottom line is that in the real world, we have to have some tough love. You want to get critique partners, people that, are not really invested in you personally. So that, of course, that's why you have beta readers after you finish the first draft anyway. The point being is get real feedback, not from just people who are going to be nice to you. And also say that, of course, you want to have your family and friends read it. You want to have them, interested and invested. But you want to make sure you say, look, don't be nice to me. Tell me everything. If it makes it easier, have them email you stuff so it's not so personal in a one-to-one conversation. But if you're the type of person who don't want to get your feelings hurt or whatever, doing YouTube and writing books and that kind of thing is probably not for you. And speaking of beta readers, for a small shameless plug, I need beta readers for The Crimson Gods. So feel free to join our Patreon community, which leads to our Discord community as well, and you will get access if you want to be a beta reader for The Crimson Gods, and there's going to be a lot of free goodies there as well. And number 5, start with smaller projects. If you feel overwhelmed or whatever and you just can't force yourself to sit down and write a novel, start with something like short stories or flash fiction. Trust me, those little successes make a huge difference in confidence to keep you going for the big picture. Hell, some people live off short stories. You may discover that you enjoy short stories, and actually, there's a real shortage for that in the industry, I believe, because people want to write novels. They think, well, if I'm going to be a writer, I have to write a novel. No, you don't. You can write short stories, you can write poetry, and you can sell those short stories and flash fiction and poetry, whatever, to these publications online, and you're just as much of a writer as someone who has a 250,000 word novel. I can tell you from personal experience, after writing The Crimson Gods, I stepped back and wrote a 5,000 word short story that was in the same world, kind of like a little prequel story. And I'm telling you, writing the last sentence and the last paragraph of that short story was the best feeling in the world. Now, no matter what happens, I can say I wrote a damn story. I can try to sell that self-contained short story to publications, and I have. But what's really cool for me, at least, is I figured out how I can work it into the same novel. So now as I kind of break that up into different chapters, I automatically have 5,000 more words that really fit the story and kind of help tie it all together. So start with smaller things and get those little wins. Those add up to success. Okay, so the first 5 was pretty standard stuff, not too harsh. So let's get into more of the harsher ones, I would say. A little bit of tough love here. Number 6, you're not original, so get over it. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is original anymore, so you might as well just get over that now. Whatever you're writing is not going to be original. It's been done a million times before. Everything you watch, read, and hear is based off something else, or at least pulled from many different sources. It doesn't mean you can't have original aspects to your story. It doesn't mean you can't take some tropes and twist them up on their heads, or throw them out the window, or change them up, or whatever you want to do. What matters is how you write it, and if it's a character-driven story, how we as readers can relate to those characters. If we can buy into the characters and what they're going through, the plot will fall into place. And look, being original is not necessarily a bad thing. There are thousands of movies, books, and TV shows that you enjoy that do just fine. And for my book, The Crimson Gods, it's definitely a mashup of influences from books, movies, and video games. So you're not original, get over it, write your damn book. And number 7, no one cares. More specifically, no one cares about your baby as much as you do. That's just the way it is. So you might as well get over it, write your damn book anyway, and eventually they will come to care as you get closer to finishing it, as you start spreading the word and marketing and all that good stuff as well. People will come to care, but it's always going to be your baby, not theirs. And number 8, writer's block is bullshit. Writer's block is just an excuse for not writing. Now, writing is absolutely hard, so there's going to be places where you get stuck. But during those times, you just have to push through it. Maybe you can step away from what you're writing and write another chapter or another scene. If you're stuck on a name or a place or a location, put a placeholder there and move the fuck on. You can always come back to things like that and fix them later. Writer's block is simply self-doubt, or something you don't want to write about, or something you may feel unqualified for. Imposter syndrome is a real thing. But Chris, I've been writing and I came to this place where I just don't know where to go. Well, you didn't know where to go when you started either, but you pushed through that. So just keep going, drive through it, and then you can come back when the editing process and make things all pretty. And number 9, brainstorming and over-planning isn't writing. Yes, there are plotters and pantsers or architects and gardeners, but writing all these perfect character profiles, trying to pinpoint every little detail of every beat of the story, of the plot, all that is not actually writing the damn book. You can't learn to write a book without writing a damn book. I think most people that actually start to write things start to try to plan things out. They pick their genre, they pick their story idea, and they start trying to plan and plot everything, get frustrated and throw it on the damn shelf, never to return from the void. And number 10, you're not always going to be in the mood to write or find that all-elusive bullshit muse. Yes, you can find yourself in the zone where it seems like everything's just pouring on the page from your soul, but it's not always going to be like that, and most of the time it won't be. But you still have to write the damn book. I mean, if you really want to write a damn book. Now, I've seen also when this happens, people try to look for stuff like productivity aids and, how to improve your process and all that stuff. And there's something to be said for that on some level. But I've seen people with productivity issues look for so many different productivity aids or organizational tools, and they spend so much time on trying to figure out their process and all the tools and products that they could have written 3 100,000 word novels in the same time period. Just write the damn book. And I certainly don't mean drive yourself crazy. Take care of yourself, take breaks, step away from it a few days, all that good stuff. You don't have to write every single day, but the bottom line is you're not going to learn to write a damn book until you write a damn book.
I don't know how to ride a dragon.
Nobody does until they ride a dragon.
So anyway, if you would like updates on the Crimson Gods, become a beta reader, all that good stuff, or updates on anything regarding YouTube, the podcast, all that good stuff as well, check out my website in the description below or in the pinned comment. Sign up for our newsletter. A little tough love never hurts. I know I've learned all these the hard way myself. So if you dig what I do here, please give these videos a like, comment, and a share. And of course, be sure to subscribe to get everything and click that notification bell so you're notified when I drop a new video. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.